Good morning, everyone. This is Steve Garrett over at Walhalla High School. Want to talk a little bit about school and our upcoming home football game Friday night. One thing about school, I'd like to just tell our students I appreciate your cooperation thus far with our COVID-19 protocols. However, we need to stay the course. Our numbers have come down. On wood, we have not had to report a case this week. We have not had to quarantine students this week, which is a wonderful thing. One of the worst things about what we're dealing with COVID-19 is when we have to quarantine students who, they haven't done anything wrong and they're being sent home for multiple days. And I hate it for them because they get behind in school. We try to help them keep up, but it is not a real good situation. And, you're talking about young people who haven't done anything wrong. They were just around someone who has tested positive for COVID-19. And by DHEC regulations, it was determined to have to be quarantined from school. Now, with that said, we need to make sure that we stay the course in the building wearing our mask. And I have my own personal Steve Garrett opinions about politics. I have my own Steve Garrett opinions about how we should handle things. But Steve Garrett's just a regular old guy, and I am no smarter than the next person. And most of the time, when we start having our own opinions, our opinions are really based on selfishness. When I start giving Steve Garrett's opinion, it's really based on Steve Garrett. Now I have Principal Garrett duties, and I have Principal Garrett things that we have to accomplish. And when we start doing things here at the school, we don't think of ourselves. We start thinking about, well, what can we do, even if we don't necessarily agree with it, that supports the best thing for all of our kids and all of our families. And there is no doubt in my mind, just common sense says it doesn't matter if we're talking about COVID-19 or we're talking about something else. But common sense says if you and I are both sharing as much of the stuff that comes out of our mouth while we're talking. So it's common sense that it helps. And I know the masks are very aggravating. I'm in my office by myself now, and I have my mask off. We have worked really hard to establish ways for our students during the lunch hour to be able to social distance and not have to wear masks. And we understand that you need a break from that face covering. We also know, guys, that our teachers have worked very hard taking people outside and doing things to try to be able to take the mask off sometimes. With that said, when we went to the Pickens game the other night, we did not do a good job. And their policy, we didn't do a good job with social distancing or wearing masks. It's true about some of our fans. Adults make adult decisions. They were at Pickens High School, and they made the decisions that they thought best, and that's where we are, and nothing wrong with people making decisions. I'm not saying that. I'm not knocking you if you decided at the Pickens game to not wear a mask. So, don't claim that. I'm not criticizing you. I'm just trying to be real with you about what we can do to help our students to still have opportunity to come to football. For an example, a team we just played a couple of weeks ago, Belton Honey, they had to cancel their football game this week against Greer. So their football game is canceled, JV and varsity, Thursday and Friday night because of a virus outbreak. And I don't want, and if you look, man, just another thing about that, their homecoming. I looked at their schedule, and their homecoming was scheduled for this Friday night, and they're having to adjust and cancel that. And I'm sure they'll have homecoming, but we don't want to be put in that position. Now, the way that we do our best to avoid it, maybe we don't. Maybe it still happens to us, but we at least need to use our due diligence to avoid it. So Friday night at the game, please come and cooperate and expect to wear your mask while you're in the stadium. We've worked very hard to set up a situation in our student section. You're spread out. You're going to be on an actual X in the stands. We've made it so it's 6 feet apart, but you're still going to need to wear your mask. And the big reason and you need to think about this, guys, is if we don't do that and we have someone who we find out test positive for COVID-19, then, and let's just say they started feeling bad on Saturday, maybe Friday night, they were perfectly fine. They start feeling bad on Saturday, and they go and they test positive for COVID-19, and we're in the student section. We are not socially distanced, and we are not doing what we're supposed to. Then we're going to have a bunch of our students who end up being quarantined because they will be deemed close contact in that environment. And when I say a bunch, the way we were at Pickens, man, it would have been a lot of, if one student in the middle of our student section had tested positive for COVID-19, it would quarantine a lot of our kids. And, you know, you can think all day, that quarantine stuff is wrong. I'm not arguing that. I may not necessarily always agree with how we have to quarantine, but I'm just telling you that's what we have to do. So on Friday night in our student section, wear your mask and stay socially distanced. Now, our fans, we have worked really hard to make everyone as safe as possible. And I know there's a lot of parents and there's a lot of people who think this is just a bunch of bull. You shouldn't have to wear a mask. This is the United States of America and people are free. Like I said, Steve Garrett has an opinion. However, when you come to this game, you need to have respect for your fellow citizens and your respect for those around you. You know, you come to a football game, it's not about us. It's not about me getting to go watch a football game. It's about students who are playing. It's about our students who are in the band. It's about our students who are cheerleaders. It's about our students here at the school being able to come to the football game. So when we as a fan decide, you know, I'm more important than all of that, that's a very selfish attitude, because none of us are more important than all of that. The most important thing that happens at a school is what happens with our students. It's not what happens with us adults, guys. You know, we want our students to be able to play football. We want our students to be able to be in the band. We want our students to be able to be cheerleading. And the only way we can do that and the only way we can keep doing that is to make sure that we're thinking in terms of, hey, I'm going to suck it up for a little while. I'm going to wear this mask. And I'm going to wear the mask, and that's my own personal issue. The thing that bothers me, I'm wearing it because I want those kids out there, and I want those young people to be able to experience some of the things in high school that, you know, make memories. You know, our football players, our cheerleaders, our band, our student section. These guys are making memories the same way we did when we were back in high school and made the memories of what we were doing with our friends and what we were doing on the field and what we were doing at the school. So Friday night, of course, we already have limited tickets, but fans, please wear your mask and follow the South Carolina High School guidelines, South Carolina High School League guidelines, I'm sorry. Wear your mask, and let's make sure we cooperate with one another so that we can keep having fans at our games, that we can keep playing. And, you know, before school started, I had my own thoughts about COVID-19. I just can be honest with you. Well, I've seen firsthand with some of our folks who have become extremely sick. We have people who are in our community who've lost loved ones. And it doesn't matter where you think, you know, your political beliefs or where you think it came from, whether you know, people who say a lot of things about the politics of this. And don't get me wrong, I certainly think that in our world now, everything's turned to what's the political agenda. Golly, it doesn't matter what it is. So I'm with you on that. However, those kind of thoughts don't change the fact that there are a lot of people who get really sick. I mean, we've had teachers, and I can think of a couple of folks here that very good health. And you would think, oh man, you know, they catch COVID-19, probably won't even affect them. It doesn't affect some people. Well, some of them are extremely sick. And then, of course, we've had people who've lost loved ones right here in our community. So when you're wearing your mask, remember, you're not doing it for yourself. You're really doing it to protect whoever's sitting around you or whoever's going to be sitting around you, whoever's going to be occupying that space. So, you know, support your fellow folks and citizens and support one another. At Walhalla High School, we're going to try our best to follow the South Carolina High School League guidelines on doing this safely, because we want to keep having our students participate and be involved in things, making those memories that last a lifetime. Thank you. Hope you guys have a great day.